Welcome back to another virtual tour of Mexico City presented by the City.mx. This week we're going to pick up where we left off last time on the Calle de Tacuba, but now we're going to go on the other direction on what was the long, mostly elevated road to Tacuba. It is known even today that the Calzada México-Tacuba, as we explained in the other video, is one of the three major causeways that connected the island city of Tenochtitlan with the mainland. The last time it was the Calle de Tacuba, Tacuba Street, and today is the Mexico-Tacuba Causeway. We're going to go a lot faster because we've got more ground to cover, about 6 kilometers, and in fact we just want to show you a little bit of what's along the way. There's a lot more detail on the website, the City.mx, and lots of places that we're only going to name here, but we don't really have time to explore. We're starting out behind the Palacio de Bellas Artes, and already you will see we're surrounded by points of interest. Remember, they're all listed on the website. Now, the Calzada, the causeway, is divided into 4 different street names before we just call it the Mexico-Tacuba Causeway. Right next to the Bellas Artes Palace is the Alameda Central, the first city park anywhere in the Americas. Across the Calzada, here called Avenida Hidalgo, you've got the Santa Veracruz Church, which is deeply fascinating and even dark. It shares its little square with the National Printmaking Museum, and next to that is the Franz Mayer, the Decorative Arts Museum. Even before the street changes its name, we're going to get one of the city's newest art museums, the Museo Caluz, in an 18th century palace that has been used to train Franciscan monks on their way to the Philippines. Now, from just to the outside, the museum, we can already see the church and the former hospital of San Hipólito. This is where Hernán Cortés almost lost his life and suffered his heaviest losses fleeing Tenochtitlan on the night of June the 30th of 1520. There's said to have been a defensive moat here, and it's really where the Calzada begins in earnest. Once we pass beneath the shadow of this church, founded by Cortés himself to commemorate all of his dead soldiers, the name of the street changes again. At Puente de Alvarado, that is Alvarado's bridge, we are really flying. Alvarado had been left in charge of Tenochtitlan, so when Cortés came back from Veracruz, the people were up in arms, and that's still remembered in the name of this street. As we proceed, one side is the Jardín de San Fernando, and a whole church and cemetery complex that at least one viceroy of New Spain is buried in. It's a terrific place to visit in the daytime, but at night it's said to be extremely haunted. On the other side of the street, we're going to reach the San Carlos National Museum of Art, which is this magnificent palace of the Count of Buenavista. Like lots of the old counts, his mom bought him that title, but there was enough money left to build a palace that you've really got to check out. It's drop-dead gorgeous and the art inside is good too. But look, we're already way out in the causeway. Hernán Cortés took great interest in rewarding his loyalists with properties that would have started already to spring up here in the 16th century. Once we cross the Insurgentes Avenue, we're in the town of San Cosme. Now, when it was a causeway, these would have been just strips of land on either side of the road. But as the lake dried, San Cosme grew into a region of orchards and fruit and vegetable producers. Most of them got the land as a reward for having been conquistadors. To this day, the street is now called the Ribera de San Cosme, and it divides the two very trendy neighborhoods of San Rafael to the south and Santa Maria la Ribera to the north. There's a lot more about both of them on the website. Especially don't miss the Mercado de San Cosme, which is one of the city's oldest and most active. In the Mercado de San Cosme, they're doing lots of outreach with local producers and organic food suppliers. And this market was remodeled in 1962 by José Villagran, who basically built the architecture department at University City and then taught architecture there until he was well into his 80s. Also, the Casa de Mascarones is along the north side of this same street, a really noteworthy and exciting 18th century palace. Now, the Ribera de San Cosme stretches to what is traditionally thought to be the lake's edge, where the causeway really makes landfall. That border today is the Circuito Interior, or what is called now the Bicentenario. Almost immediately, we'll see the new Cosmos Theater building, which has stood derelict for literally generations, and that's set to reopen as one of the city's newest Faro Art School and cultural centers. Faro, meaning lighthouse, actually stands for Fábrica de Artes y Oficios. It's an important community asset and a big plus for this neighborhood. But one of the nicest, best kept secrets is a little church that's easy to miss. In fact, it looks a bit like some kind of crazy McDonald's. But inside the San Antonio de las Huertas temple, you'll see that it was designed by a 20th century master of elliptical geometry, Felix Candela. He's best known for the Palacio de los Deportes and the Tapo bus station. Already, we're moving on, and we can see on the right the breathtaking Heroico Colegio Militar, built at the end of the 19th century. That's all on orchard land of the same Huertas monastery. There's just a little and remarkable chapel left from them on the other side of the avenue. We're already in the neighborhood of Popotla, which when Cortés and Alvarado are fleeing the city would have been a little wooded village. The giant ahuehuete tree where Cortés is said to have wept is there in its own little park. Now we are already in what historians sometimes call East Tacuba. It is important to remember that the people here went into alliance with the Mexica people from Tenochtitlan. And as you walk around the Church of San Gabriel and some of the few sites in the very ancient city of Tacuba, they're all listed on the website, remember that the people here who used to fight the Tenochtitlan people all the way back where we began. They were really instrumental in forming the Triple Alliance. That's how the Mexica eventually defeated their longtime enemies in Azcapotzalco, just a little to the north. Remember, the website has a lot more information on these and other sites along the way, including all the metro stations, so you don't actually have to walk the whole thing. It's a long way, but it's worth it, and it's one more way to get more out of the city. Until you're in Mexico City again, remember to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and definitely subscribe to the YouTube. And if you want to know more, drop us a line.